The Nurgle cultist suffers from a whole host of maladies and afflictions, but one beneficial symptom he does suffer from is that of the mirror syndrome, which is basically that he is packed full to the gills of special abilities and traits, which makes him, in my opinion, the best of the cultists. Now, you might not seem like much with only 15 armor, with less than 400 weapon strength. He does have 50 attack, though, and most importantly, armor sundering. Minus 30 armor on contact will help your non-AP, non-anti-large Nurgle units fight much better against large armor targets, especially, of course, he's a cultist, so he can summon. He's also got regeneration, which does make him weak to fire, but obviously gives passive healing. Gate of Nurgle is the summon, obviously, and then he's also got this icon of Eternal Virulence. As he's in melee, this will charge up and give an AoE debuff that is similar to poison, but will actually stack on top of it. All of that combines with the fact that he has an exceptional animation set, one of the best of any character I've ever seen, especially on foot, makes him a staple of Nurgle builds, especially these days. Today I'm up against my patron Coops. We're doing the dreaded Slaanesh versus Nurgle. Ugath the Plague Father leading the way along with a Soul Grinder, so opening up with some artillery barrages. Got Spawn of Nurgle and some Forsaken. Same thing mirrored over here. 4 Nurglings up front. Cultist, of course, in the center. And there is a Plague Ridden mixed in here as well. This guy's got just the AoE melee attack and armor-piercing damage buff. To get Coop's forces before they start screaming in here. I've got some Demonettes. Marauders of Slaanesh through the center, his own cultist, the Hell Scourge Marauders, plenty of them, Exalted Demonettes on the far side, Exalted Keeper of Secrets, and of course also the Hell Striders and Hell Scourges, or Heartseekers, the elite cavalry over there. These Demonettes are getting in combat with Forsaken and Spawn. That's not going to go particularly well for them, although they will dish out some serious damage on the charge. The Cultist also going to make his way forward. Now, the armor sundering doesn't matter too much in this particular matchup, of course, given that Slaanesh doesn't have any armor on the vast majority of their units, but in the event of the odd Soul Grinder, which you definitely could see in this matchup, I would say that the Slaanesh Soul Grinder is quite good against Nurgle. The anti-large damage, the armor, the large status, meaning that it will not take a lot of damage from Nurgle, at least in theory, but surprisingly, that's not necessarily true of the Cultist. You can see he's gotten to combat here. Those Marauders down to absolutely 0 armor. Demonette's going to get a little bit of a summon rear charge here, which is the traditional way to use the Demonette summon. And so far, Cultist, my own Cultist, is not utilizing his own summon. We're going to hang on to that at least for a little bit longer. Try and use it at the appropriate time, but in terms of the overall battlefield, we're just shelling wherever we can these light armor units. Like you can see the Exalted Demonettes there taking significant damage from the Plague Mortar and from Kugath's Nurgling belly button lint. He's got some problems, but in the front line as well, Nurglings, Locus of Virulence, plus upgraded Fleshy Abundance to heal up the Spawn and all these other frontline units, the Forsaken and whatnot. Try and keep them fighting. The Keeper of Secrets is doing his best to cycle charge. This has generally been doing a great job keeping this thing on the move. Right now it is stuck between 2 gross places, but should be able to dish out some serious pain in return. Now, let's see. Looking at the rest of the battlefield here, Forsaken, not Skaven, trading okay. Now, finally, I'm going to get in my own summon here, and we'll watch a little bit up close. The one thing I want you to note about the Cultist here, as he actually fights 1v1 with the Slaanesh Cultist, it's not a good engagement for him. The Slaanesh Cultists, with their anti-infantry damage and better overall combat stats, would probably win this fight 1v1, even with the poison and everything else. Of course, the Cultist can keep regenerating. And the other thing, again, about animations, you'll notice later on in the battlefield when I'm able to highlight it, his charge animation in particular, he just kind of throws himself on the ground, and I don't know if he can be hit. Most characters, when they fall down, cannot be hit, whereas he, like, intentionally throwing himself on the ground, I haven't tested, but it seems like maybe he can't be hit while that is happening, while that animation's playing out. Hard to say, but anyway, pitched battle, duel of the fates. The Cultists duke it out in the center there. Meanwhile, in the back line, the big Chungus is fighting Sexy Demon. Yeah, Slaanesh, very fun. These Heartseekers, too. Again, Coop's been doing a great job generally keeping them cycle charging. They're in a little bit of a pitched prolonged combat here, but they are doing a hefty amount of damage to Kugath. You take a look at their damage value. I mean, already, granted, a little bit of inflated damage value from damaging a healing high-value target, but still, they have paid back their damage value. So, going to be very close. Nice AoE debuff here. Seductive Glory does give minus melee defense and Rampage in an area of effect around the Exalted Keeper. I think that's why Coops brought it here for that particular ability. Of course, you should have probably watched my Enkari. Not that many people did actually watch that video, but Enkari is quite good in this matchup because you can heal by finishing off demon units, and especially in this matchup, you can pretty much guarantee that you'll be fighting some Nurglings at some point, as long as Enkari's nearby when the Nurglings pop, when they disintegrate, so to speak. Enkari will get a substantial amount of healing, but anyway, even just with good micro, this Keeper of Secrets definitely can be quite tanky, just avoiding damage in combat as much as possible. But let's check back in with our sickly friend, the Cultist, wherever he went off to. He is around here somewhere. Actually, looks like he got routed, but of course, with that regeneration, he will continue to regain health, and he should be back into combat very shortly. But it's going to be tricky. I've taken a lot of damage. I've got this kind of little pocket, gross blob holding out. They're doing okay. They're not doing anything too crazy, but we're going to get some summoned Nurglings in here. The bomb, explosive Nurglings, don't do that much damage, but every little bit helps against Slaanesh. Spawn also, just having them hold this pocket along with the Soul Grinder, which thankfully I've been able to keep alive. Haven't really highlighted it too much, but I've been putting quite a bit of healing into that. I saw the one's Fleshy Abundance earlier upgraded on that blob in the front line, which, speaking of which, it went a certain way. The spawn of Nurgle are just about gone. Nurglings holding out for a surprising amount of time, as they often do, but the balance of power ever so slightly starting to creep in my favor as this single entity fight continues to play out. Definitely Coops has got me heavily outnumbered here. No question about that, but here comes another Fleshy Abundance. Yeah, right into the Soul Grinder as it's crumbling. Thankfully, we do manage to get it to recover its leadership, but some nice, fancy match animations. You guys have been seeing those play out between the Keeper of Secrets and the Soul Grinder. Kugath just straight up interrupting, getting directly in the way of that particular combat. Doing a great job. Where's our friend the Cultist? Oh yeah, that's right. He's holding up this gigantic blob of troops for Slaanesh. I'll try and get his charge animations when I can, guys. I promise. Stay tuned for that. But for the time being, he's just going to wave his little rotten stick around and bop some of these marauders right in the face while the demons fight it out. There we go. There's the throw himself on the ground animation. You just saw it there. And he does it again. See, like that. And, I think maybe he can actually take hits when I'm looking at it as he's fighting this blob of infantry, but I'm not sure, exactly how it works. It seems like it's, whoa, and he sends that marauder flying off into space. Man, he's got some power in that little stick, those sickly little skinny arms. Anyway, that's the Cultist in a nutshell, throwing himself around like a rag doll, little ragamuffin. Anyway, oof, right in the belly. That's gotta hurt. Keeper of Secrets continuing to duke it out with Kugath here, continuing to dish out insane damage. Honestly, can't believe the Soul Grinder's still going. It's managed to dish out some insane damage as well. 1,500 damage on the Heartseekers, too. Just ridiculous stuff. That healing of Nurgle definitely can give seriously inflated army damage values. But you still have to do the damage, right? Even if, yes, it's technically not fully valued at the healing, right? You still have to actually deal the damage to those units in order to get rid of them, so Keeper pulling back away for another cycle charge, but thankfully this Cultist has managed to unify with his disgusting brethren. He's just kind of trailing around in the slime trail of Kugath here. You can see he's actually defending the rear explicitly of Kugath, so that if the Keeper of Secrets tries to take advantage of that devastating flanker by charging into the rear as Kugath fights the Cultist. My Cultist can protect, and this whole time, too, that he's out of combat, he's just going to be regenerating HP, continuing to get back to full health. And, oh no! Oh, Cultist, where'd you go? Oh, he managed to actually not get knocked over by that. Wow, I'm quite impressed. Thought for sure he was going to get sent flying, but let's see. Yeah, Kugath is here also, obviously, but we're more interested in this sickly little bro. Down at the ankles. Oh, he's gonna... Yeah, there we go. There's another flopping charge animation. as he gets into combat with the elf lady, the bald elf lady cultist. She's got her armor sundered down to 0 as well. And I always forget, too, Kugath having 70 armor. Not that it matters a ton here, but we'll keep it in cinematic cam. Watch the Duel of the Fates. It's definitely, what do you think? Green lightsaber versus purple lightsaber? Gotta be, right? If this was Star Wars. Technically, they all be Sith, I guess, but... Right. Yeah. So Kugath is just refusing to die at this point, despite the fact he's acquiescent, he's charmed, he does still have Plague Father's Oration, which is super clutch, by the way. Being able to give that extra melee defense, you might not think like it matters too much, but it definitely does matter. And oh man, a back-breaking Blight Boil comes through, just does a ton of damage to that blob. I've been hanging out into that one for quite a minute. Those Exalted Demonettes are finally going to pop there. The Marauders of Slaanesh route, the other Hell Scourges route, and the Clutch Cultist still holds out with Big Papa in the piles of sick puddles of vomit. He is, oh, nice somersaulting attack roll to finish off the Slaanesh Cultist there. Just really send a message. And now he's going to go continue to whack the ankles of the Exalted Keeper of Secrets here. Try and finish it off as well. Very fun stuff. Big, well played to Coops. Big thanks to him for his continued patronage, of course, and for some really awesome land battles. Definitely had a great time in this session, and this has to be one of the closest battles I've played yet in Total War Warhammer 3. The Slaanesh Cultist actually comes back and almost turns things around, but as soon as the Keeper of Secrets goes down, she's going to rout, and that will be game. So very well played to Coops once again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Nice to see Nurgle take home a win. Nice to get a win with Kugath as well. I mean, in many ways, he is a meme. I think he's really not that far off from being pretty strong, to be honest, especially against factions which can't take missiles, but even against factions which can take missiles. I've had some success with him against Kislev and some other factions, to be honest. Definitely needs some more testing, but the melee defense debuff is also something to consider. The fact that it's kind of like a weird... not exactly AoE, but similar to other Nurgle abilities, it can spread like a contagion, right, to nearby units. Minus 40 melee defense is significant. I didn't really highlight my casting of that too much, but I was using that whenever it was off cooldown on this Exalted Keeper of Secrets, who managed to get almost 4,000 damage value, 1,600 on the Slaanesh Cultist. Demonettes of Slaanesh, again, a lot of this stuff is going to have overinflated values from all of the healing that I did, but still, you got to do the damage. 3,500 damage dealt on those Heartseekers, man. Those Slaanesh units, if you're on top of your micro, if you're using that devastating flanker passive in the way it's meant to be used, you will absolutely mop the table, or you can at least dish out some serious damage. That being said, I was able to return fire quite well and fight back with these two disgusting artillery pieces. The Plague Ridden actually did nothing. Maybe his support abilities helped in some key engagements there at the beginning. Spawn did manage to pay back their value, which is always nice. Nurgle Spawn I am a fan of, just even in land battles, maybe not so much, but even still, the fact they offer some mobility upside and some shock damage, high damage output-ish, especially with the melee attack buff, it definitely gets better. Forsaken also trading pretty cost-effectively, but man, look at the Herald. Despite the fact that, I mean, yes, he makes that back 1,000 damage value in and of himself, right? Plus the summon, which is realistically probably about another 300 points in this particular battle. Plus the fact that, again, he's supporting as well, which is hard to quantify in terms of tactical value, like gold value-wise, but still definitely useful. Maybe not so much, again, specifically with the armor sundering in this exact battle, but in general, you get the idea. Certainly, like I said, if you would have brought a Soul Grinder, the Cultist actually does trade pretty well, especially on foot with the Soul Grinder, all things considered. So, yeah, very fun one. Very fun stuff. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.